Australia has a lot of spiders, but recently we found a new one, because of course we fucking did. And the new one is the most certified Australia moment I've ever seen. For a bit of context, one of the several thousand spider species we are home to is the Sydney funnel web, the deadliest spider on the planet. Because of course it's down here. Where the fuck else did you think you were going to find it? These scary looking fuckers are highly venomous and can flatline you with a bite in 15 minutes. And if you think wearing thick clothes will save you, be aware the bastards have fangs long enough to punch through shoe leather. Now, why do I bring these little nightmares up? What is the one thing worse than a spider rocking armor-piercing rounds that can send you to heaven with same-day delivery? A bigger spider rocking the same perk setup. That's right, Australian scientists have found a brand new species of this funnel web that is even bigger. How much bigger? Well, the standard Sydney funnel web grows to around 5 centimetres or 2 inches. And I mean, if you're asking me, 2 inches is more than enough. 2 inches is actually fucking huge. By comparison, this is the new one. It's twice the fucking size, cunt! 4 inches of 8-legged menace to the animal kingdom. But that isn't even the best part. You see, do you know what they named this thing? Do you know what professional scientists named a supersized version of the most dangerous spider on the entire fucking planet? The Newcastle Big Boy. Deadliest spider on the entire fucking globe. Big Boy. Only in Australia. Platypus are weird, but I'm not sure you quite understand just how fucking weird. See, everyone knows the basics. They lay eggs, they sweat milk, and they look like God hit randomizer on the spore creature creator and just called it a day. But you see, mate, that's barely even scratching the surface of weird platypus features. First up, as is the qualifier for any Australian animal, did you know they're venomous? No, I'm not fucking with you, you heard me correctly. Male platypus actually have venomous spurs on their hind legs. These spurs are multi-purpose, acting as defense from predators, as well as a tool for throwing hands with other male platypus during mating season. And while their venom is non-lethal, that doesn't mean that getting stung by them doesn't fucking suck. See, platypus venom can cause extreme pain and swelling, and to ensure you remember not to fuck with them again, these effects can last for several months and have no treatment or anti-venom, so if Perry stabs your shit, your only option is to cry about it. Next on the list of offensive capabilities, I shit you not, platypus share the same hunting method as sharks. You see, that big-ass bill isn't just for show, as it contains enough surveillance equipment to make the CIA blush. Possessing the ability to sense changes in pressure in the water, but most importantly, containing electroreceptors that track electrical signals from muscle contractions made by their prey. Meaning that when whatever they're chasing starts quaking in fear, they know about it. And last but not least, as if those things weren't already unbelievable, we recently discovered something new. Platypus are fucking biofluorescent. They glow. If you hit these things with a black light, they go bright fucking green. And the best part of that is, we have no clue why they do it. I guess it just means Perry was a biblically accurate platypus man. I'll give up, man. Who fucking designed this thing? This seal is such a menace that he routinely gets the cops called on him. Introducing our protagonist, Neil the Seal, a 600 kilo absolute unit of a southern elephant seal from my home state of Tasmania in the land down under, who is known for, above all else, being an absolute fucking menace to polite society. But despite his crimes, we all still truly love him. But what are his crimes? Well, see, he seems to just fucking hate traffic cones and road safety in general, has regularly been caught trespassing, and then once he has been caught trespassing, belligerently screaming at locals because they won't give him his fucking fish, and has been known to just block roads by plopping his fat ass down directly in the middle of them. However, hands down, the funniest shit he has ever done was just straight stopping this random lady from going to work. I shit you not. This motherfucker crawled out of the ocean, up the beach, crossed the road, absolutely fucking bodied this woman's poor letterbox, and then proceeded to plant himself directly in front of her fucking car. She was then unable to go to work because this half-ton beefcake was camping her driveway for so damn long. Local news had time to drive out to her house and cover the fucking story. Now, this is a lot of menace for a single seal to cause, but the funniest part of this is, old mate isn't even fully grown. He's like 5 years old. If you think he can fuck things up now, wait until he's nearly 2 solid-ass tons of blubber and takes issue with the wall of your house. I do not think that seal damage is covered on my fucking insurance plan, dude. Wombats defend themselves by, throwing it back. But to understand how the fuck they actually do it, you're gonna need to learn a little bit about them first. You see, Australia is home to 3 species of these bad boys, all of them equally adorable, and very importantly, all being burrowers, meaning they dig out a nice little hole for themselves and the family to live in, because, like the rest of us, they can't afford a fucking house in this economy, man. They grow to around 1.3 meters in length, but despite being small, they are built like fucking tanks, weighing in at a chunky ass 35 kilos, but despite their weight, I shit you not, they have a top speed of 40k an hour. Now, the fact that they can nearly get booked in a school zone, coupled with them being a tank class marsupial, forms the start of their defense strategy. So you see, a fun fact about wombat anatomy is they spect all their defense points into their ass. Rather than having fat and muscle, a wombat's cheeks are made out of 4 thick plates of fused cartilage, making it extremely solid. And this Kevlar BBL allows for the fucking funniest defense mechanism I have ever seen on an animal. Basically, if a predator tracks down Mr. Wombat to his burrow, it'll stick its head in and start trying to dig him out. In response, the wombat will line his ass up with the tunnel door, chuck the gear shifter into reverse, and fucking floor it backwards up the tunnel into his aggressor, slamming his ass into its head. The impact then squashes the predator between his steel cheeks and the roof of the burrow, straight up crushing its skull like a Mortal Kombat fatality. I cannot make this shit up. This bird can straight hit you with a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Finish him!
Introducing the cassowary, a species of ratite native to the land down under. And for once, guys, it's not venomous. Can still flatline you though, and I'm going to tell you how. You see, these neon chickens belong to the same family of birds as the emu, and as such share their impressive size, coming in at a solid 79 kilos and growing up to 6 feet tall, meaning the short kings in my audience could, in theory, mount these things like a chocobo. But what makes them stick out from emus? Well, you see, the cassowary is basically a spec ops emu, being twice the weight, highly territorial, and most importantly, coming with a combat knife strapped to their foot. That's right, this is a cassowary claw, and it's the reason they can hit you with a fighting game finisher. You see, these claws are a full 5 inches long. And you know, I mean, honestly, 5 inches, way too big for anything, and especially for something that's going inside me. And if you anger the tactical assault turkey, that is exactly what you're gonna get, as their go-to defense method is to kick you square in the gut with that kitchen knife and attempt to disembowel you. And I mean, even if the kick doesn't put your insides on the outsides, that kick is still going to send you flying, which can cause some fairly major problems. Problems like the incident that occurred in 2012, where I you not, a cassowary ran up behind a random tourist, hit the heavy attack button, and kicked the guy down a small cliff into the ocean. I mean, luckily he survived, but the fact that I live in a country where at any point I could be hit with a sneak attack by a kaiju turkey is f***ing terrifying. Australia lost a war to emus. But how? How the f*** did we lose an armed conflict with flightless birds? Well, it all started in 1932 when farmers in Western Australia wanted to grow wheat. There was just one major problem. That's emu territory, and emus really like wheat. And coming in at 6 foot tall and 40 kilos in weight, they can eat a lot of it. So when breeding season came around, the emus migrated through the farmland, and these poor farmers were overwhelmed by a tyrannid swarm of man-sized poultry, 20,000 emus strong. These feathered tanks then proceeded to completely steamroll through the fences into the fields and started laying waste to the wheat. The farmers attempted to fight back the initial wave with rifle fire, but their efforts were, putting it lightly, completely useless. This ginormous L made the farmers pretty bloody angry, so they gathered together and went to the government to ask for help. Sir, 20,000 emus have hit the wheat fields. Me, mate. And so the government declared the emus enemies of the state and sent in the army to commence the Great Emu War. The entire 7th Heavy Artillery Division was deployed to WA, armed with 2 LMGs, 10,000 rounds, and the sole objective to blast anything with feathers. A little bit excessive for an overgrown turkey if you ask me, and upon their first deployment, the army immediately ran into a major problem. Emus are fast.
I am speed.
Really fast, clocking a top speed of 50 kilometers an hour, which meant that once they opened fire, the emus would immediately bolt out of range of their weapons. But they still took a crack at it, and then immediately stopped when both LMGs jammed after only dropping 12 emus. This embarrassment led the army to retreat and rethink their plan. So a few weeks later they returned, this time mounting the LMGs on trucks in an attempt to run the birds down. However, this also didn't work, because after figuring out that those trucks meant they were about to be turned into a KFC family bucket, the emus started leaving scout birds who would warn the flock of the approaching trucks, which gave them all enough time to book it before the army even got there. And whenever they did catch the emus, they found out they were kind of... because emus are mostly feathers, and there's a lot of places you can hit on them without doing any damage, meaning it was taking around 10 bullets for every 1 bird. So after a month of blood, sweat, tears, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition, the army managed to bring down 960. The population was 20,000. This was an issue as, unlike America, our defense budget is not a bottomless pit. So the army had wasted all that money to achieve absolutely fuck all. So the government just kind of built a really long, really shit fence around the farms and, called it a day. How the fuck did we lose this? I could have done a better job with a boomerang and a cricket bat. Touching this plant will put you in the hospital.
I'm dying.
This is the Gimpy Gimpy plant, a piece of foliage native to the land down under. And surprising no one, not only is the thing venomous, it is in fact the most painful plant on the planet. Because yeah, no, of course man, even the fucking leaves down here have a problem with me. Growing in the rainforests of northern Queensland, these hell bushes are covered in tiny hairs that upon closer inspection aren't hairs at all and are actually thousands of hypodermic needles waiting to stab you and break off inside your skin if you so much as brush them. Once inside you, these needles will inject you with, I am not kidding, neurotoxin and cause absolutely excruciating pain. I mean like comedic levels of pain. With one person describing it as being covered in hot acid and electrocuted, and another woman saying that it was straight up more painful than childbirth and she'd given birth 4 times. And the fucked up part is, the neurotoxin isn't even lethal. So this spiteful of a plant is hurting you purely for the love of the game. Mind you, there are reports of people saying getting stung by this thing is actually worse than being put in the ground. This is because Groot's little hellspawn cousin here can continue hurting you for literal years after being stung. This is because those thousands of little hypodermic needles are actually made out of silicon, meaning your body can't break them down. And with how thin they are, your skin will usually close up over the top of them, meaning that these neurotoxin-emitting slivers can sit inside your skin for literal years, releasing more neurotoxin anytime that they're moved or disturbed. This constant, chronic, agonizing pain is so unbelievably bad that there have even been records of, trying not to get banned here, people Alt F4ing existence to make it stop. This particular incident came from a man who accidentally used one of the plant leaves as toilet paper. I don't think it gets much worse than neurotoxin to the nuts. This animal will peel your face off like a banana. Introducing the one creature that strikes fear into the hearts of every Aussie. The infamous, terrifying drop bear. A species of predatory marsupial exclusive to the land down under. This genuine nightmare may seem pretty normal at first, closely resembling the koala bear, and that is by design. You see, the drop bear is an ambush predator, patrolling the branches of the eucalyptus tree and using their keen sense of smell to detect incoming prey. And once they can smell you approaching, they will position themselves in the leaves of the trees, being basically impossible to spot unless you're actively looking for them. And even if you do see them, you're automatically going to assume it's a koala. And that assumption is probably going to be the last mistake you make, because walking under these things is inviting the most painful death you can think of. Once you've walked into range, the drop bear will launch itself from a tree and aim directly for your head. Small animals will often be clapped on impact as the 20-kilo drop bear launched itself out of the tree so fast that it snaps their spine. And they're the lucky ones, because once they make contact with your head, drop bears will immediately puncture your scalp with their foreclaws and latch on like a fuzzy little face hugger. Once firmly attached to your skull, the drop bear will start to kick out your eyes with its hind claws in an attempt to blind you, and while they are forcing you to cosplay Daredevil, they will be tearing into your face with their fangs like a fucking chainsaw. The attacks are so vicious, most human victims end up being completely scalped and having their faces removed. And even if you manage to pull them off in the initial assault, those claws contain a potent neurotoxin which will paralyze you in under 5 minutes, allowing them to run you down and eat you alive. Australia loses roughly 600 people per year to drop bear attacks. So if you want to survive your trip down under, I have a secret to share with you about the drop bear. And that secret is that all of this is complete and utter bullshit. Drop bears aren't real. I made it all up. April Fool's cunt. This jellyfish is basically a time bomb. Introducing the Irukandji, a species of jellyfish native to the northern waters of the land down under, and possibly my least favourite animal in the entire ocean, because it is just a massive, spiteful cunt. Well, massive is misleading, as this little guy is tiny. I mean, ridiculously small, being not much bigger than your fingernail at the head and basically completely f***ing invisible to the naked eye. This is a fairly major problem, because behind that halo cloak frame they are dragging 3-foot-long tentacles and shocking absolutely no one.
Say the line, Bart!
It is one of the most venomous jellyfish in the ocean. Yeah! I'm so f***ing tired of the stealth poison multi-classes on OCE servers, dude. This shit is broken. You see, those 3-foot tentacles are covered with tiny little barbs, and at the barest touch, they will literally propel themselves into your skin like a bullet and inject you with the Australia Special, a pina colada cocktail of various neurotoxins. And upon being injected, you will feel absolutely f***ing nothing. You'll keep swimming around, splashing about in the water, kissing the homies, until you are overcome with a sudden, severe feeling of impending dread. I mean the kind of dread that will have you hysterically screaming that you are about to die.
I am gonna die! I'm gonna die! I'm gonna
die! That's because the invisible cunt here does psychic damage, inflicting a condition known as Irukandji syndrome, which starts with a feeling of impending doom so strong there are records of people asking to be, avoiding a ban here, forcibly disconnected from God's Minecraft server. And that feeling of doom is warranted because about 30 minutes after being stung, that biological bomb goes off, with the venom initially causing extreme pain throughout your entire body. And after making you feel like a failed isekai protagonist, the venom then spikes your blood pressure and heart rate through the roof, which can cause heart attacks, blood clots, and has even been recorded to cause brain hemorrhages.
And the f***ed up part is, it doesn't have an anti-venom.
This thing sneak attacks you, waits 30 minutes, sends you a private DM telling you it got your ass, and there is not a f***ing thing you can do about it. Toxic little shit. This pigeon saved an entire army battalion.
Heroes never die.
Introducing our protagonist, Jeremy, a carrier pigeon who was in the employ of the US Army Signal Corps during World War I. You see, back in the oldie times, radio technology was, kind of dog shit. So carrier pigeons were still the meta for DMing the homies memes over distance. Which is how, in 1918, our feathered little shock trooper here ended up in France, with 500 US soldiers stuck 3 kilometers behind enemy lines, completely cut off from supply and reinforcement in a 7-day shootout. You see, Jeremy's battalion, juiced up on freedom and red crayons, had overextended and become trapped, surrounded on all sides by German soldiers. And to make matters worse, being stuck behind enemy lines meant they were now on the receiving end of US defense spending, being absolutely hammered with friendly artillery. Now, stuck as far away as they would have had more luck using their radio as fucking nunchucks than a comms device. So they began sending out carrier pigeons in an attempt to tell command to stop fucking shelling them and help on the point. However, the Germans were having none of that shit and shot every single carrier pigeon the battalion sent out of the air like they were running an AIM Labs warm-up. Until only one remained, Jeremy. Desperate and rapidly running out of soldiers, the battalion wrote a message and attached it to Jeremy, sending him into the air and watching him sail above the trees. And just when they thought he was clear, some f***ing sweat on the German side nailed him. The battalion watched in horror as their last hope spiraled out of the sky. The bullet tore straight through Jeremy's center of mass, destroying one eye, punching a hole through his chest, and blowing off one of his legs. And this Giga Chad of an animal tanked it.
Do you have any ibuprofen? I got a headache.
The Marines watched in awe as this mangled pigeon picked itself out of the mud and managed to fly clear of German fire. Jeremy made it the whole way back to base, delivering the message and saving a total of 194 soldiers. Not only did he get the job done, but he f***ing lived. He was granted one of the highest military honors the French army could provide and sent into retirement with his trainer. And when he eventually did pass several years later, he was preserved and placed in the Smithsonian, where you can go see him today. There he is. Absolute f***ing legend. This bear was actually a soldier. But how? You see, it was 1942, and the 22nd Polish Artillery Company were passing through the mountains of Iran, on their way to the front lines to fight the Nazis. While passing through a town on their way, they were stopped by a young Iranian shepherd, looking to trade with them for rations and a Swiss Army knife. When the Poles asked what he had to offer in return, the young shepherd produced a burlap sack containing an orphaned Syrian brown bear cub. You see, this bear's mother was shot by hunters, which is how he ended up in a low-tech Pokeball being offered as a trade deal. The Polish looked at the bear and, clearly seeing the potential for insane dad lore, said, "Damn good deal." And in the most worthwhile trade deal in history, parted ways with their supplies in exchange for a f***ing Pokemon, adopting him into their ranks and naming him Wojtek. And the 22nd immediately set about raising this little man as a proper bear and soldier. Maggots! As a baby, they would feed him condensed milk out of an empty vodka bottle, as well as feeding him on the cartoon bear diet consisting of fruit, honey, and marmalade. They also appointed a soldier as his caretaker, who wasted no time in showing Wojtek how to fit in with the rest of the army, teaching Yogi's little cousin to wave, salute, and even march. While not undergoing rigorous military training, Wojtek would hang out with the soldiers. He drank coffee with them in the morning, trained with them in the day, and when they all got shit-faced in the evening, he would f***ing wrestle with them. Do you know how much a brown bear has to love you to wrestle you? On top of double rations, they would also feed Wojtek treats in the form of beer and cigarettes. They let the bear have smoko. Eventually, Army High Command heard about this and were having absolutely f***ing none of it. You see, pets were not allowed in the army, which meant Wojtek had to go. Or did he? Because the 22nd Artillery Company officially enlisted him.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
Wojtek was given a serial number and granted the rank of private, so when confronted about the very conspicuous bear in their ranks, they simply went, "That's not a bear, that's Private Wojtek." And Wojtek took his new role very seriously, as during the Battle of Monte Cassino in 1944, Wojtek began using his bulk to transport artillery shells and ammo to soldiers engaged in combat. They had a fucking resupply bear. For his bravery, he was promoted to the rank of corporal, and the 22nd changed their insignia to a bear carrying an artillery shell. This absolute unit smoked, drank, and dropped artillery on the Nazis. Based. Koalas are really dumb. In fact, Australia's fuzzy icon is probably the dumbest thing on the planet. And that stupidity starts with their diet, because of all the things they could have chosen to eat, they chose to eat nothing but straight up poison. You see, koalas feed exclusively on eucalyptus leaves, which, shocking no one, are highly toxic, because they are full to the brim with eucalypt oil, which is so fucking poisonous that as little as 3.75 mil is enough to land you in the afterlife, with the Reaper asking you why the fuck you felt the need to eat a leaf.
Why?
Oh, it's also highly flammable and burns like napalm, because Australia. Now, despite nature putting up this giant do not eat sign, that did not stop the koala, because he can't fucking read. This suboptimal bulking diet not only gives the koala fuck all in the way of nutrition, but also requires their body to rest to filter out the toxins so they don't fucking cark it. Meaning they need to spend upwards of 18 hours a day sleeping in order to just digest their fucking food. These dumbasses spend most of their life in a food coma. That is, however, if they even get to the food to begin with, because they are so mind-numbingly brain dead that they will not recognize a eucalyptus leaf as food unless it is on the branch. I could give this dumbass a lifetime supply of food, and if it wasn't on a stick, he would starve to death. It should come as no surprise to you at this point that the koala has such an esky temperature IQ that they literally have a smooth brain. The thoughts slide right off of this dumb cunt. I love him. Australia has just found zombified bugs. That's right, we are closer to the Walking Dead Down Under than you think. You see, just recently, a scientist by the name of Dr. Francois Brassard made a trek out to the remote savannah of the Northern Territory, with the goal of finding and cataloguing brand new species of insect unknown to science. I mean, me personally, I think we've found more than enough bugs, especially considering that half of them can send me directly into the fucking soil. But what do I know, right? Anyway, on his trip to the middle of fucking nowhere, he stumbled across a colony of spiny savanna ants, which is a pretty normal thing to find out there. However, getting closer, he noticed something a little off. You see, the main ant colony was fine, completely normal. However, the several disfigured and deformed ant corpses clamped onto shoots of grass surrounding the colony like a Bug's Life version of Vlad the Inhaler. Yeah, those were significantly less normal. Prasad, mildly unsettled by the ant gore on his timeline, took samples for inspection and upon getting a closer look, realized something both really cool and really spooky. The ants had been overtaken by fungus.
Big old red ones.
More accurately, a previously unknown strain of the cordyceps fungus, infamous around the globe for its ability to create zombie bugs. And the way it does it is unbelievably horrific. You see, it begins with a spore landing on an ant and producing a thin rope-like strand that penetrates and attaches to their exoskeleton. At which point, the ant gets a little timer on his hotbar, counting down to a family reunion with his ancestors. Once inside, the fungus begins to take control of the ant's body and brain function, completely changing their behavior, replacing their colony-focused mindset with one single goal: climb. Its fungus-riddled mind drags its rapidly deteriorating body to the closest high point, which is usually a plant, with its final act being to clamp its mandibles onto the stem in a death grip. Finally succumbing to the infection and being completely consumed, its corpse blossoming into a fully grown cordyceps fungus and raining down spores onto the rest of the colony to continue the cycle of infection. Now look, I know this fungus is found elsewhere in the world, but it's a new strain and it was found in Australia. With my luck, I'm going to be playing The Last of Us against couch-sized spiders within the fucking week. This is Australia's most common snake, and that's quite a problem, because it's also one of the world's deadliest. Introducing the eastern brown snake, native to quite literally every state in the land down under. And unluckily for us, this asshole has earned himself a silver medal in the Note Rope Olympics venom category, coming in second place for the most venomous snake in the world. It is worth noting that third and first place are unsurprisingly also both held by Australian snakes. Because God hates us. However, unlike first and third, the toxic middle child here is a far larger problem, because putting it lightly, he's a cunt. The eastern brown is one of the most territorial species of snake in the world, which is a scientific way of saying they operate on the US home defense philosophy. If you dare put a pinky toe onto this guy's property, he will bite your ass, injecting you with a hemotoxin that can send you to heaven via blood clot in under 30 minutes if left untreated. But hey, stay off his property and he'll leave you alone, right? Yeah, one problem. His property is your property.
Get the fuck out of my room and play Minecraft!
That's right, the eastern brown doesn't live out in the middle of nowhere like his slightly more deadly cousin. This fucker is so at home in the suburbs, he drives a fucking Prius. You can find this burnt piece of spaghetti literally anywhere. Go to put your shoes on, he's turned them into a 2-bedroom home. Hop in the car to go to work. Yeah, unfortunately, that's his car now. Get to work on the job site? What do you know? He f***ing works here too. Try to take a shower after a long day at work? F*** off, he's moisturising. You can't even take a shit in the comfort of your own home without running the risk of the dunny being occupied. In fact, these bastards are so omnipresent that out of the 200 species of snake in the country, this ginormous asshole makes up 60% of snake bites. What a cunt.